Hi everyone, it's Rik Schnabel. I wanted to give you a tip today, which I think is going to make manifesting really, really simple for you. In truth, it should be really, really simple. However, I think a lot of people actually miss how to manifest because of its simplicity. So in doing that, I had to think back to why it was so easy for me to manifest the world that I have created around myself and why it seemed to be so hard for others. And as I began to ponder this, I realized that when I first began in the world of work, the area that I focused on was advertising. That was what I wanted to be in. When I was 7 years old, I was so lucky. I knew that I wanted to be in advertising. So I did everything that I could to end up in that world. So the reason that I was attracted to that world was essentially because I absolutely loved clever words. I loved design, and I loved learning about how we think from a very, very young age. In fact, one of my very early books was a book called Dibs in Search of Self. And prior to that, when I was 7 years old, I read a book called I'm Okay, You're Okay. Now, I learned later these are psychological books. But the thing is that, yeah, I'm a weirdo. But the thing is that, it was so important to me, to go into that space. And I was led into that space because I love growth and I love design and I love words. So what was happening is in my day-to-day world, I would look at things and I would really see the value of those things. I would look at those things and I would think to myself, wow, what an amazing design, or what a great use of typography, or what a really great way to say those words and put them together to mean something else. So I loved ambiguity. I loved, pouring through songs and music and, how great artists were able to express themselves in paint and in words and so forth. So I'm a classic creator profile with a focus on star profile. So that's why I like getting out there. I like helping people. I like getting in front of people. I like speaking. I like training. So what I discovered, and here is the key, what I discovered is I kept looking for the things I loved. And as a result of that, what actually happened for me was it was like I was in a state of love a lot. So being in a state of love a lot meant that I just kept seeing things I loved. So I began attracting people who appreciated those things too. So it was very easy for my world to develop. Now, when I began learning about neuro-linguistic programming and psychology and EFT and a whole bunch of other things that I studied, things that I now teach, what I realized was when you pull that apart and begin to understand why did that lead to me manifesting many things? Well, what happens when you look at things that you really, really love, what occurs is that you begin to change your state. Think about the polar opposite to that. How many people do you know go driving down the road and all of a sudden they're swearing at other drivers, they're looking for poor behavior, they're getting upset because they're not getting to wherever they need to be in time and blah, 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 blah. What that actually does is that creates a very negative state. Now, your negative state determines negative thinking. See, it's very difficult to be in a very negative state and have very, very positive thinking. I hope that makes sense to you. So how do you pull this apart in the context of manifesting? Well, what we think about determines what we feel about, and equally what we feel about determines what we think about. Manifesting comes from your feelings. It doesn't really come from your thinking so much. Your thinking is just a leader to your feelings. So let me simplify this. If you look at something and you love it and you appreciate it and you look at the value of it in its design, its structure, its cleverness, its artistry, or whatever it is, if you begin to look for things that have value to them, what will happen is you'll start to add more value to you. You know, you will condition your thinking to condition your feeling, because the truth is the universe will keep giving you what you're thinking, and particularly what you're in love with. And equally, well, when I say love, I actually mean high emotion. Whatever you're in high emotion about, you are creating emotion towards you. So simply, when you're in a high level of emotion of anger, you draw lots of angry opportunities for anger to reveal itself again and again and again. If you're in a high state of love, you're creating a lot of opportunities to bring more love towards you. So how can you use this knowledge to improve your level of manifesting? Let me share some things that I do. Now, where we are right now is actually one of my favorite places. It's my office. I love this place. I love this place because I've got over there, I've got all my books. I have a wardrobe with all my shirts. I'm a big shirt fan. And, you know, all my storage of paper and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I've got my computer here where I can, you know, create, and I can do this. I can actually talk to you, you know, and it feels like we're actually having a real conversation because it's a video. So, you know, my office is a great space, but it's not just about what I create, it's what I see. And what I see in my office makes a big deal of difference to my state of mind. So, for example, behind me, you might see one of my photos up there. By the way, what it actually says on that, which you can't see, at the very top, it says destiny. Destiny is not a matter of choice. It is a matter, a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not the thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved. So that conforms with my beliefs, and that is that I believe we create our destinies. You know, I know some people don't believe that, and that's okay too. So because I believe that, I, of course, determine what destiny I want, and I therefore create it. So equally what I have, and I just got something that actually sits opposite me, and this is my reminder. This is a Christmas present I was given at one point by my lovely wife. And it just says, go on surfing. It's to remind me whenever I feel like I need a cleanse or a shift or a change. I love surfing. So this reminds me to actually go surfing. So, you know, when I look at this, you know, I love these flowers, you know, because we see those often in Maui. It reminds me of Maui, one of my favorite places on the planet. And so that makes me feel good, causes me to feel really, really good. Let me show you another thing. I have this in my office. This is a Gibson SG guitar. Now, I've always wanted one of these. Now, when I had my poor mindset, I used to look at the price tag of these things, and I used to go, oh my God, it's so expensive. You know, I can't afford that. And of course, I could never afford that. And, you know, even when I was making, you know, a huge amount of money, I used to say similar things in the very early days. And then one day I said, no, I'm just going to get it. So I have this in my office whenever I feel like I just want to take a break and just play a bit of music. I just put on my amp, plug in my guitar. I also have a few other guitars. So I see that on a regular basis. When I look at that, feel it, and play it, I feel really, really good. Now, there's a couple of other things to remind me. This here is a photo from, actually, that is from Maui, looking over to the Big Island. Actually, Oahu. So, you know, that sits in my office. And again, I just have to look at that, and that causes me to feel good. Equally, you can create your own things. I am also an artist. Some people say, no, you're not. But this is a painting I created, which I call The Wizard of Happiness. Somewhere in there is actually a wizard. I'm not sure whether you can see the wizard or whether you cannot. Some people are just seeing the two happy smiles, or the eggs, fried eggs for eyes. But essentially that's called The Wizard of Happiness. So I have that up in my office too. So again, that reminds me of things that I can look at and engage with that cause me to really shift my state. Now, there's some quirky things. Like, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I saw one of these when the next edition of Star Wars was coming out, and I thought I really need to get a Yoda in my office. I'm a big fan of the Star Wars and the philosophies underneath Star Wars, as I enjoy looking for meaning. So this is my Yoda, to
feel the force flow.
That's right. Concentrate, feel the force flow. So, equally my kids come in and press Yoda's tummy, and he says all sorts of wise things. So these are some things that you can do in your environment. If there's anything that you're really annoyed about, get rid of it. If you need to clean your environment, clean it. Because quite often what happens, a messy environment, we often look at it and it causes us to feel bad. Because we might be thinking, that's so untidy, it needs to be cleaned up. So from that particular perspective, it is so important to create an environment around you that allows you to really manifest the best that you can be. And and it's really about state. So whatever you're feeling is what you're drawing towards you. So if you keep feeling bad or angry or upset or whatever it might be, what's going to happen as a result, you will attract more of that towards you, because in essence, the universe says, so what do you want? And you're there simply feeling a certain way. And it says, okay, so you're obviously feeling that. So you obviously want more of that. So let me give you more of that. And so I know this means that we need to be conscious. But the truth is, if you really want to manifest in a major way, if you really want to attract the life of your dreams, then it does create some discipline. The discipline to manage your state, be in the best state that you could ever imagine. Think about it just in this simple way. Happy people attract people who want happiness. Angry people attract people who just want to be around angry people so that they have a reason to punch them or argue with them or whatever they want. So be in the state that you want to attract. Be what you ideally imagine for yourself, even if right now you are living the opposite to that. It is almost like a game of acting, though it's pretending that you have exactly what you want to manifest already in your life. And then let the universe show you clues. My name is Rik Schnabel. Thank you so much for, again, sharing some time with me. I want to give you so much, but I'll give you enough in a bite so you can then go on to the next thing, study, develop, shift, change, and then create a life beyond limits. So bye for now. Enjoy manifesting the life of your dreams and live a life beyond limits. Think richly.